Let's go, guys. Let's break down the damn series. Let's break down the damn series. T1 versus Gen G. Coming into it, I thought that Gen G kind of got the memo. I thought they got the memo, especially after this series, that you need to play drafts that are scaling better. I think that the best drafts that they were playing were always when Chovy was on something that could scale into being stronger on side. But T1, I feel like they've kind of figured out what they need to do in terms basically to enable everybody. I think that always making sure that Faker plays something that can play in isolation on side is super beneficial. And additionally, the blind pick Renata was something that went unpunished today. And thinking about like Lehens and On, you know, as players and how they played at this tournament, I think Lehens has been atrocious, but On hasn't been super sharp either. And I think this Renata blind blue side, we finally got to see T1 on blue side in terms of how they develop and how they draft on blue side, because you only saw that against Pain Gaming. The two blue side games, they did get Ashe and Renata Glusk, and that seems to be their recipe. And then the question is if this is something that, of course, teams are going to challenge with the Aurora Yon open, maybe something like this, you know, to set up trades. Anyhow, my pre-series breakdown always came down to how is the super champion of Korea gonna pan out. Like he had the Pike on 5, he had the Renata Glass blind on 2 blues, and then on the red side as well, he picked the Braum here, which was the one game that they lost. This to me, right, this type of draft didn't look like T1 at all to me. I think that the best case scenario for T1 is if they are playing, like if Zeus and Korea are playing the champions that bring the X Factor. I think this could have been really the difference maker, because here, the one game that T1 lost, of course, the level 1 strategy was super good from Gen G, but when I saw Zeus on Maokai and Braum on Korea, it looked too standardized, you know, it looked too standardized. Kind of remind me of like a DRX draft from 2020, where like Chovy would play Silas, and then like Korea would play Braum, and then Kindred Pioshik, and then Deft on Kate, and then they would get kited out by Damwon, you know, something like this. I think that this is, you know, not them. In regards to support, right, I rated Korea lower. I think everybody knows the T1, they would ramp up at the World Championship. That's why I set their range. You know, I set the range of play that they can be a team. They can be a team that will compete for top spots, meaning go to number 1. But in regards to where the summer level was, and if things continue in the super position the way they are, things are going to be super hard. So in regards to like thinking about this team, T1 as a team, the World Championship is always the tournament where they do the absolute best all over the year. All right, if you look at their MSI performances, they've been lackluster, right? In terms of how they came in, especially 2022, right? They came in as a heavy favorite, and then people are going to talk about the ping, whatever, COVID, whatever. And then you had the 2023 MSI, you know, when they lost to JGG and so forth, and JGG won it. And then this year's MSI, where they lost to Billy twice, right? And then summer looking really rough. They managed to squeeze out a win at EWC, which was cool. And then by extension, like this summer, they lost to DK, and then they almost lost to KT to barely even qualify to the World Championship. So it can't be as simple as, I do think that in terms of the pressure on playing the big stage matches, I do think that there is an element that affects other teams way harsher than T1, right? Like we've had some up and down performances from players that have had a volume of all year of doing a lot better than they did on stage, and T1 seems so fucking unfazed by that. I think the most beautiful aspect about how T1 play is that they don't seem to change at all in terms of how they fake pressure, and also they are willing to challenge the enemy extremely hard in terms of the space that is given. I think a very good example was the previous series when they played against Top Esports. When Top Esports looked timid and didn't want to engage, then Zeus and Owner, they were walking on them. Like there were moments where Zeus was auto-attacking the enemy 1v4 because he knew the enemy is not pressuring to engage. They're not using any buttons, and he postured and takes so much space. So it's like when T1 notice these elements of the players, I do feel like they are very, very good at punishing these type of mistakes. You know, I think this is, they are world class at this. Really, really world class. Additionally, at first, you know, T1 is in a position where, as a team, they have a lot of obligations. You know, often people talk about the DDoS as a problem, but maybe in some weird way, there was an element of liberation there that T1 was granted. Obviously, their practice was impacted, but eventually they figured it out. But considering T1 have streaming obligations, they have event obligations, they have video obligations, bigger and greater than any other team. There was like Hall of Legends and so forth. There was that moment in time, you guys remember when, like obviously, like there was a moment of weakness for Faker and so forth, and then they like T1 announced that Faker was sick with COVID, and that's why he's not going to come to events. Regardless of like obviously we're not going to assume, we're not going to think that anybody lies, but at that point in time, you're like thinking to yourself, bro, like this homie needs a break. Like, let him rest, you know, let the T1 homies rest. It was the same, right? When Faker got time off due to his injury, T1 managed to shape up, and they managed to win the World Championship at the end. It seems like when there's actually a moment in time where the preparation for a tournament is like 3-4 weeks, and it seems like they can stabilize and actually like catch up with everything, because it can't be just random every time, you know, it can't be random every time, because now it's been 3 World Championships where they've looked insanely good. It's like even the DRX one, I think if they replay that best of 5 a couple of times, I do think the T1, like if they replayed that best of 5, we went back in time, I would still predict T1 to beat that DRX team, you know? But anyhow, T1 looked fucking good. I think that Gumayushi and Kiria, I think they look like the best individual performance in their positions. I think that everybody else has looked fucking crisp too. I think that the reason I highlight Gumayushi and Kiria is because I think in their positions in particular, I think that there's no conversation, right? Like I put On first, like Delight had a decent run, but at the same time, Delight was like, okay, right? He was solid. I don't think he was visible in the Bilibili series. On has had a pretty bad tournament. Lehens, don't even get me started on him. Mickey had like some fine moments, but he had kind of ass games too, right? Kiria, easily number 1. Gumayushi, easily number 1. I think the Elk has had a solid tournament too, but I think Gumayushi's level in the last 2 best of 5s has just been beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. I think in the other positions, right, I think that you can make arguments that Knight has had, you know, a better tournament than Faker, but it's like these are details that don't matter, you know, because Faker's had a great tournament too, you know. I don't think you go into this series and think, oh, Knight is so much better than Faker. No. I don't think that's true for any position here, except potentially, you know, like just where we are support wise. I do think that Kiria seems to just be insane, you know. Like if we just look pound for pound, I think if anything, Kiria is looking way sharper than On, you know. Really way sharper than On. But okay, more on that later when we break down the finals, you know. Opa. Let's take a look at this game. So, Yon first pick for Skarner Renekton. When I was watching this live, I thought instantly they're gonna go for Skarner Ashe. That's the trade they're setting up. the reason for Renekton, maybe you could justify it by saying Renekton forces Yone to go mid, and you revealed that, but you're blind picking Sylas mid, which isn't good against Yone. I really thought they're gonna go Skarner Ashe here with the bans. They didn't, and in the end they picked Sylas. Yone against Sylas is a matchup where I believe Yone is favored, and they went Ziggs Leona. This looks still like a very Gen G draft. I thought that he was gonna grind out a victory somehow, and Chovy's gonna go like even or be ahead in CS, because that's what his specialty is, right? Playing weaker lanes. But I think that a very big problem here was that Yone was way stronger than him on side and also on the mid wave. And I think that itemization was very, very easy for Yone, so I do think that Yone was kind of a big problem. This game did explode when Nashor was taken. Let's take a look at the fine details, the nitty-gritty. Like, I think without nameplates, I did think that blue side draft is better. With nameplates, I did think that this is a draft that Gen G should be able to execute. Let's move forward. The Gragas pick is super fucking interesting, because he's the only player that has played Gragas in a world where everybody blind picks Jax. I wouldn't be surprised if a Gragas ban comes through, you know? That's gonna be very, very interesting, you know? Let's continue. The majority of the early game was Kriya leveraging his prio to just chip away at Chovy and harass him, giving Faker space and vision and information. We fast forward. T1 secured 5 grubbies. Here I think the T1 plain and simple should just accept this, especially after Sylas begins to TP. This is something they should spot. In my opinion, if T1 walk away here, I think that they have the better position on mid and Gragas can just push out and it's all good, you know? It's all good. We continue. Gen G managed to secure the first turret even against 5 grubs with the TP of Renekton. Gumayushi gets pushed out. He was left in isolation. Just like minor micro details left and right here for the majority of the game until the game kind of exploded. This is a moment in time where you can clearly see Kriya's thought process. He just wants to buy time for Gumayushi and Yone to come back out of base. Yone wants to finish Blade Rune King and the Kraken Slayer for Ashe. While on Gen G's side, they just are better tempo-wise, even though they are at the goal disadvantage. They have finished item on Sylas, finished item on Ziggy, and finished item on Skarner and Renekton too. Here, Gumayushi and Faker the base quite late, and this is just T1 trying to buy time. But this ward spots everything, and Kriya's bluff gets called, and they just fucking kill him. Which is a good call, but I understand where Kriya's coming from, right? He's trying to buy time to make the buy happen, but in the end, he gets punished and Lehens hits his E. Something that I forgot to show, I need to show this too, because I think it kind of set the tone for the performance of Lehens in this, because we had a lane swap. Let's take a look at how Lehens and the rest of the squad plays this. So we have the Q and a very nice Gragas E timer, right? Lehens can play this better, but it was insanely well timed, the E on the Q to just send it to dodge the E. And then they DPS him, Lehens tanks a couple of turret shots, and then the issue here, Canyon has his debuff onto Gragas. Basically, the passive of Skarner is if you do damage with your 3 abilities, you're going to apply a ticking debuff that lasts, I believe, 4 seconds. So Canyon now walks into turret again, just as this debuff is running out, taking 2 turret shots, and Zeus forces Canyon's flash. This is a disaster at all accounts. Keep in mind, Keen is still there, and then Lehens tries to E onto the homie and Faker TPs. We continue. So Gragas managed to push in a wave and make it bounce, being 20 CS ahead. 20 CS against 11. And Renekton being pushed out because Lehens misses the Hex Flash play. So it's like Canyon misplayed that hard, Lehens played that hard, and I feel like it kind of set the tone for how Lehens is going to be playing the rest of the series. But okay, we fast forward to the point where we're at. We were kind of here. I just saw Kriya die. I didn't like the itemization here. I think the Oblivion Orb is ill-informed. I thought that Chovy going for Liandry in this game is also weird. I don't know what his obsession is with Liandry. It's always when he has Grasp, he just wants Liandry. I don't know why. He just believes he's tankier or something. Here, Lehens is basing in the pit, and Mr. Korea finds him. A little bit of free food. Beautiful arrow launched onto Lehens. They drag him into it. Lehens doesn't want to burn Flash. He dies. Doesn't make that big of a difference. Here, Faker is just committing to the turret, wants to break it, and they are kiting back, and then Faker snaps back, but Cannon with the well-timed ult. Faker doesn't get to flash or do anything really, and they kill him. But in the end, it isn't the worst thing ever, you know, because there's no Nash to be taken yet, you know, it spawns in 10 seconds, and additionally, T1 get the mid-turret, so as long as the enemy team can't progress the game over that kill, I think this death here from Faker just doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things. Chovy buying these small components always puts him in a position where he is behind when it comes to the conversation of like power spikes. Now here is Haunting Guys, Zeke's Arm Guard, these are all components. His gold lead is just non-existent because, you know, Faker is not buying any of these components. He's just brushing straight items with Berserk Grips, which is a very big deal, you know, in terms of spikes. Now he's on Stridebreaker and Blade against a Chovy who has only components in his inventory. We continue. Here I have a situation where Genji pushing to bottom side, there's no dive onto Gragas, and T1 just decide to hit Nash because they know the enemy is over-postured into the other side. T1, let's take a step back and just look at the information available. Right now, as long as Zeus can take this wave, they have all the time in the world. This is the detail, right? This is the main important detail. T1, if they see that they can take this wave for free, they are hitting. They are hitting, right? They are hitting, they hit the pink, and then Owner does a fake step back because the ward or the vision gives vision, like the ward gives vision for a little bit of a moment, and then he just goes straight back in. In this moment, Keen is pushing bot, and then Chovy looks to check, but he only has Sweeper, he's afraid still, and then eventually Ziggs would land, and now at 8k they see it. And honestly, it's already gone. Already gone. It's already gone, guys. And with that idea, right? Skana's not going to be on time, he's on Drake, there's no steal. Chovy has no business doing this. I have no fucking idea what Chovy's looking for here. He's looking to steal it with Proto Belt. This is extremely bad here what Chovy is doing, because in all honesty, this could have been, oh, we got mid, we could push out mid, maybe we keep pushing bot, and then we look for something. This is a very, very bad play here from Chovy because he gets snapped, he gets killed, and Genji played this fight quite horrendously. Pays, W's out, they manage to kill Owner, and then Lehens flashes, and then Zeus hits a nice little woody fruity gritty here. While Keen and Canyon are trying to fight Korea, I think that this is a moment where Lehens should just peace out, but he E's because he thinks that the Q is going to kill him and he wants to dodge it with E. But Pays should be fighting with his bros on the left. This was a very, very poor fight here from Genji, and T1 executes super well. They had the information of that Zeus wave on bot, and Owner with the fake out on the ping. They just hit it because of course they have items on Yone, items on Ashe, and it's a good time for them to fight either way. So as we break down the T1 Nash, right? We had the Owner fake out, the Drake spawning, knowing the enemy committing to topside base of a vision. And the Ashe E here, I believe, look at that cheeky ward there on the river. You see that ward? This ward right here? It's very, very nice. Very, very nice. That ward, 2 core on Ashe, 2 core on Yone, and Zeus being able to get that bot wave and the Owner fake out, recipe for a beautiful fucking Nash, man. Really, really well done by T1. I think another detail, right? Because I'm reading chat. I think another detail in regards to this. I think the World Championship. I can say it from being. I've been to Worlds 4 times, and a very, very big conversation point is your resilience. It's like the World Championship is a very unique tournament because you face a lot of fucking challenges. You travel, hotels, food, everything is different, schedules are different, everything is unique. There's a lot of different stimulus that changes your whole life. MSI is a tournament that is all in the same venue, same location. It's over the span of 2 weeks. It's very sharp and fast, and it's double elimination, right? I think that in terms of true competitive level, the easiest way to determine is the way MSI is structured. I think when it comes to the World Championship, you get challenged on a lot of different metrics. It's kind of like, what's that Formula 1 race where you race for basically like fucking 24 hours straight? Like that race is very different from a regular standard race, right? Because you get tested on many different metrics, right? Everything is very, very high stakes, everything is very high pressure, and the windows between the competition is very unique. Your scrim practice is very different, right? Everything is very different from what you're used to. I think that's why we have so many times where there are teams that come to the World Championship, players that can be great the whole year that sometimes play worse at the World Championship. Like an example of last year, for example, LNG with Scout and Tarzan, right? Or in the DRX run, like a lot of people were shocked at the performance of some players, right? The nuance of how different things are is definitely like real, you know? And if anything, I think that T1 through that is extremely resilient. Because I bring you back to EWC. EWC was also a freak tournament, and T1 won it. Obviously, there was a fucking Nash deal, where they almost lost to Team Liquid, but that was also a freak tournament in the sense that it was very rushed. It was single elim, best of 3, new patch. I think that T1 as a team is just extremely flexible to circumstances. I think that's like a very big strength of theirs, you know, and I think it's worth to highlight from a person that has been to the World Championship 4 times. It is very different than preparing for regular tournaments, you know. Let's continue. After this fight here, T1 managed to, they had Natch, of course. The enemy might be on soul point, but they have full prior everywhere. Faker with the Megatron cloak is just having a good time. Chovy can't contest them on side, they're very weak. There is this final fight where maybe, just maybe, Genji could win if they played it better. This is just Paze and Lehens really like stepping on their own toes and falling over themselves. I do think that Chovy does a good job in this fight with the Gragas ultimates. I think them snapping and like breaking the fight apart, pushing Ash away and killing Korea is really big. But I do think that both Pace and Lehens really run it here. We had a situation where Lehens ease after Vi, and Vi basically drags him into this pocket. And then you have this W here that Pace put that ends up CCing him, pushing away from the fight. Not fighting with his bruiser crew here, and then he flashes away from Vi too, when in reality maybe if the fight continued here, maybe there was chances here. But I have to say as well, that looking at where the items are at, looking how strong Yon is, how strong Ashe is, maybe they still lose. Maybe they still lose straight up, you know? And that's it. T1 win game number 1, baby. Win game number 1. Let's take a look at game number 2. So game number 2, this was where T1 got pushed in their bot lane. Kalista, Xayah, Ashe was banned, and then they followed up with Caitlyn, Kindred into the Skana first pick. So here everyone's aware of the Skana prio, everyone accepts the Skana prio, which is going to get interesting in game number 3. But Skana gets first pick, Caitlyn, Kindred. I don't believe in this at all. I really don't. I don't believe this at all. I think this is giga fake, guys. This is ass. I think it's horrible. They follow up with Jax Ahri, which is like, all right. I think it's fine. They follow up with Braum, and then they went just Braum on 3. I think it's also crazy talk. I think Braum on 3, blind picking Braum for Korea when you can just match mid and last pick when you're planning to pick Maokai. Like here, this is the spot where you're supposed to have options, you know, with your Caitlyn. But they picked Braum. They follow up with Maokai into Jax, which is like fine in the grand scheme of things. I think if this was a different team, I wouldn't mind this. Right? I wouldn't mind this if this was a different team, but it isn't a different team. This is Zeus playing Maokai and Korea playing Braum blind. They follow up with Galio ban, which I think is solid because of the Kindred Galio pairing, and then Orianna ban too, which is okay against Ahri in the matchup, and then they invite the Sylas. Kaiser Rel gets picked because they want to be stronger against Sylas in case it's coming, because they kind of know it's coming. I don't even know why T1 fans are mad at Yamato and Dom. I don't think people are mad at me, to be honest. I think it's just like the usual, like the like really, you know, bored people that just make the rounds, you know. I think most people are just rational, you know. Most people are very rational. But anyhow, Maokai Sylas. I personally I really hated this T1 draft. It just doesn't look like them at all, in my opinion. But I do think that Gen.G blew up this game with a beautiful level 1 sequence. Let's take a look at this level 1 sequence. Look at this level 1 sequence. This is fucking a masterpiece from Gen.G. So they're in a position where they want to get match lanes. Plain and simple. They want to get match lanes. They have Caitlyn, Braum against Kaiser. They want to get match lanes. Kaiser is synonymous with lane swapping, getting out of it. Now, the beauty of this, right, is that Gen.G faked them out completely. As a T1 fan, I apologize for some of the Gen.G. You don't need to. You don't need to, really. You really don't need to. That's okay. It's just a question of larger groups. There's 5 million T1 fans. There's 5 million T1 fans. Of course, some of them are going to be crazy. That's okay. This is how many are there, bro? So, bro, we've had some crazy Yamato fans, but we can ban them from the stream, you know. So that. But okay, let's continue. This moment here is where Jax shows on bot to fake out. Lehens is on top side, hovering in case he gets spotted because he wants to fake out the swap. He gets shown here, and Jax shows on bottom side now. And in this moment, T1 Gumoyushi runs top. And when that happens, they spot the Kaiser and they get caught with their pants down. It's a masterpiece. It's really a masterpiece. This is also a crucial detail here that we notice is that having mid prio in the 1v2 is super important because the amount of XP you get on support actually matters. Here Chovy can hard push and Korea needs to run bot already because the next wave is about to crash. So Korea needs to walk bot and he doesn't get level 2. Korea doesn't have level 2. So Relo's already here with level 2, Canyon level 3, took his bot side camps, lost his Wolf, Blue and Grom, so he's a little bit behind. I think that there is an argument here for Owner to actually stick around here with his boys. This could be like good. But he goes into top side. Like I think it could be a genius move if he stuck around here. Like if he was here and they expected this dive to defend it, it could have been a huge move. But nevertheless, it didn't happen. They managed to snack on Korea's forehead here. They tackle him into the wall and Korea's already dead before he even gets to say bibimbap. So Keen, now together with the boys, are diving Zeus 1v4. And we love Maokai and think it's OP, and Zeus probably plays as good as he can with the W on the E and then flash, but he's getting bullied by 4 people. And in all honesty, this is low-key kind of fucking GG. This is low-key fucking GG. It's like, Kaiser get a kill, Skana get a kill. The only thing that you get out of it is the fact that Kindred is ahead. But Jax gets a dry TP on top. There's nobody to defend. Caitlyn crashed, like Jax is already ahead. Maokai no flash. Jax level 4. And Kaiser here level 3. She's catching a big wave after Maokai pushed and Caitlyn lost all her initiative. And at this point, you know, the game is very difficult. Giga difficult. It's going to be very tough for them to break. Caitlyn Braum, I have picked the Caitlyn Braum poison myself. In theory, it makes sense, but it's so hard to win games with it because you just don't have pressure on the mid wave, don't have pressure on side, and you can't snowball Kate hard enough with Braum. I think it's really fake unless you have like giga value, you know? It's definitely like fake. We continue. So Genji position, very strong in the game. I have to say, I really hated Chovy's itemization this series. Chovy's itemization this series, I think was very goofy. Whenever he goes grasp, he just loves Liandry's. He has his Oblivion Orb for the matchup, which I don't think makes sense. Obviously, Silas wants to hard trade in this matchup. And he will just not do it anymore when Oblivion Orb is purchased. And he will tank the loss, you know? But that loss is then 800 Gs. It's a very big and hefty investment. So I'm not a big fan, you know? It's like Silas will fall behind because of this item purchase. So it is strong for lane. If you think about what you can walk out on, well, to be honest, he's fucking 1200. He got that lost chapter. It's pretty fucking OP 2 lost chapter. So it's not even an argument here. Let's say for theory's sake, he's basing on 800 gold. Okay, for theory's sake. For theory's sake, he has 800 gold. Oblivion Orb is probably the strongest lane item you can buy, but it's such a big fucking investment that delays everything else. So the lead that you need to build off of Oblivion Orb alone is still hefty. It's a lot, man. It's a lot. And it's hard to measure how big of a difference it would be. But I just don't think it's worth it, you know? I don't think it's worth it. Pays is 6 after catching the big bot wave and crashing it. Jack's in good position. Pays. They tried to trap him because this is the only way, right? This is the only way for them to be like, yo, if we break Pays here, then maybe we can contest the grubs. That's why they're looking for this. I think it's a solid play. Pays, he gets out. The chains don't land. Pays flashes, Pays ults, but they would never have contested this regardless because of the state of Kaiser. We continue. Faker here. Lehen's only positive play, maybe. He flashes, so Kaiser can't. So he can't Kaiser ult onto him and peace out. So that's nice. Good job, Lehens. Good job, Lehens. Respect. All right. So Faker dies in the end. He doesn't flash because Cannon cuts him off. And they get the kill. Okay, let's continue. This is also deadly close. They're chasing after Zeus, but they can't reach onto him. His Doran shield and his potions and his biscuits are healing him well. Owner kites back and Cannon misses E, which is of course here is very crucial. And then Owner doesn't flash after to proc his E on Keen. Because Jax has very high base move speed too, a 375 with shoes. He flashes the ult. I think that looking at this, both sides think they played this perfectly fine. Flashing Scan ult. Let's take a look how Genji actually break this game apart. First turret, 3k gold lead. I think this was just Genji pushing sides perma with Jax and Ahri and not giving any chances. Lehen's kind of face checked here. I'm not so sure why Lehen's went when Ahri is perfectly safe. Ahri catches a wave and she has enough vision to know if they're going to undermine her. And Lehen's just like Lehen's here. The move from Lehen should be he should put his wards and press B and Fog and then open on bot. But he crosses into bot through the same path where T1 went. So Korea now is on a ward and that's why he feels like he can walk. But the odds of him walking through vision is extremely high. And he just face checks onto Owner here and then Korea just jumps, Q flashes, and it's just kind of troll. Don't like that. Like, he should just base and walk bot through lane, you know? We continue. Yeah, Korea was maxing Q. PSA to all Braum players, maxi. Just please max E, guys. It's extremely broken. It's extremely OP. Mickey found this out and never went back. It's extremely OP. You can put 2 points Q. Everybody's maxing Q at this tournament besides Mickey for some reason, but Emax is extremely strong. Cooldown goes down, percentage goes up. It turns into a fucking Alistar ult. Another thing for T1 is that when Genji are pushing sides, like in the previous game we had the Yone pushing side against Silas being stronger. Yeah, the Gragas doing super well as well against the Renek. In this game is the opposite, right? Where Jax conditions are super good, Ahri conditions are super good. Just being able to push side first with Skarner be going through walls and Kai'Sa having perma mid prio, it becomes kind of impossible for T1 actually to gain any meaningful information that allows them to hit Nash, you know? Some people think Pyke is shit. What is your take on this pick? Pyke, let's talk about it when it comes, okay? It comes in the fourth game. Let's talk about it in the game 4. Because I think that I come from a position where I can talk about Pyke super well. Because I had the resident Pyke enjoyer in Hilly, and we utilized this champion a lot, you know. Sorry guys, that's doorbell. Put his game, Joe. All right. it's just extremely difficult for T1 to find any break, you know? Like, their engage is only Maokai ult. This was like the only opportunity maybe they could fish for, but Maokai bases. No problem. They didn't have. This is also very good from Genji, very disciplined. The enemy has no blue trinket. They have to face check and they just give Korea a little kiss. Ari ult into snap. Kill. Beautiful. He RE'd because it's quicker than E, right? It's very nice. They had 3 core on Kaiser. Genji can play the game. You know? They are still a good team. T1 tried to squeeze something, but they couldn't find it. I think Keen did a wonderful job here of making sure that owner was marked the entire time. I think that there were some people that thought that T1's draft was better, but I think that this is a draft that falls too hard into theory, bro. This draft falls way too hard into theory. And it's like, even though Genji champions want to like fight and kill first, like these champions are very mobile, very mobile. They are not so one-dimensional in the way they play. Like, keep in mind, these are modern champions in Kaiser, Ari, Skarner. Like, they are not just small. They're not like a fucking red deck, right? Or there's not fucking a hunter phase deck, right? This is a draft where you are strong in the in-between and you can set up circumstances where you can figure out fight angles that can be good. T1 won to death ball, but it's very easy to break apart this type of a death ball. I think that always when you're sitting on Caitlyn, Braum, Kindred, these type of champs, they are just too rigid in the way they want to move and can move, right? They're playing the in-between is just bad because it's not teamfight tactics, right? It's not teamfight tactics. That's why I thought that Genji is going to win this game, you know? This was it, yeah? Okay. Genji didn't go for the win. They didn't need to, just picked up Soul. Strongest Soul in the game, probably. Hextech, of course. Klaus was also up there, but Hextech is good every game. There's no game where... It's just that it's very easy to pick this draft apart, you know? And I also said it on stream, right? And I said it before too. It just doesn't look like a T1 draft at all. Okay, let's continue. Game number 3. Game number 3, I don't know, Skarner they just agreed. They agreed together, we are not picking Skarner, guys. Because here I thought the trade, plain and simple, would be that you're going to look for Ashe, Skarner. I kind of would have wished, obviously Genji have a lot more info on T1, and Faker did play Aurora regionally before it was disabled. But in my mind, I would have loved to see T1 challenge on their Aurora, you know? So what are they gonna do with Aurora? Like, let's see what they do. Because let's say you give Aurora and you get Ashe and Skarner for that, I think that's something you should be happy with. And then you can pick champions that lane well against Aurora, and you kind of you look to fight back on that front. I think that's something that could have been interesting. I think that the Aurora lock ban, and then additionally, like if you're planning to give Ashe, I think the Xayah ban does nothing, right? It just does nothing. They pick Ashe, and then I'm thinking, okay, they're gonna just do the Billy Billy. They're gonna go Jack Skarner, but they don't. Another thing is, even though the Billy Billy is very good, right? I think it's great against everybody except the Gragas player. Zeus is the only guy who's picking Gragas at this tournament, and he looks fucking insane playing it. When it comes to the Jax matchups, the Renekton matchups, I think he's looking fucking fantastic playing this shit. Maybe this is something that is going to come through as a ban, because I think it makes sense. I do think that the ban on Gragas is definitely something that could come through. Someone in the chat mentioned Gragas and Renato is pretty huge this series. I think if you are picking Renata and the enemy team is picking Rel into you on 5, your Renata is broken. Like, you are really, really OP. And these bans should have been Renata, right? Like, if you have no answer into Renata, you're not willing to play Karma, you're not willing to play Nico, then you should be banning Renata instead of these AD carry picks, right? You should be banning Renata and Rakan, in my opinion, right? To just chip away at the blind pick pool of Mr. Korea. But if you're blind picking Renata, like T1 did in both of these games, and you end up on Leona, you end up on Rel, you're very happy as the Renata, right? You're very, very happy. But we have to highlight the fact that this is something that happened in the Weibo series too, right? In the Weibo series, we did have a Renata blind pick here together with the Kalista, so it's a little bit different, but still, the Varus Nico came through and On looked kind of ass on the Nico, right? He looked kind of ass on the Nico. But okay, we continue with the game 3. So the Nocturne comes through. Skarner still open. I don't know how you win this game with Skarner Jax Ahri and then you pivot into Jax Ahri Nocturne. It's just extremely uninteresting. The only thing that Nocturne does is potentially deny mages on mid like an Orianna pick, and it can be fine against Ashe, but this is an Ashe with Renata class, so it doesn't matter. It really, really doesn't matter. So I hate the Nocturne pick. I hate the Rel pick. I think the T1's draft is better, even though that I'm not getting super excited about Akali, right? I think at this point you pick Akali to survive the Nocturne and to survive the Jax because you have decent amount of counterplay. But Genji with the Rel and the Nocturne lock-in into what is showing is very, very bad. Imagine a world here. I think that if Genji pick, for example, Skarner on 3, and they still get Ezreal, right? Let's say they still get Ezreal, right? Because these bans, maybe the enemy is gonna ban Kai'Sa Ezreal because Nocturne invites a Twitch, right? So maybe they ban Ezreal, Kai'Sa, so maybe that game would look different, but then I think that you just pivot back to playing, let's say, Ziggs or Jhin, and then that can be okay. Or Varus even, right? Lethality Varus against Ashe Renata is pretty fucking good. Or in these spots, if you get Ezreal somehow in 4-5, imagine you have Skarner, Ezreal, Karma, right? That could be super, super good. But it depends on the player, right? And it seems like Lehens only wants to play melee supports, and if he has a preference and is playing bad even on the preference, you're not taking any risk and gambles on a player that is performing like this, right? Never ever. Okay, let's take a look at this game, because in similar fashion, I do think that T1 did a great job, level 1. Fantastic adaptation. Fantastic adaptation, because look at how T1 played this. Why did Genji ban Kindred there? Because of the previous game, and they have an all-in comp. Well, I think it's trash. They should have just banned On Revive, in my opinion, but it's not that big of a detail, in my opinion. Alright, they find the E-Flash, Chovy burns his flash, he's playing against Akali, Vi is perfectly fine, it's not going to be a problem. Good level 1 preparation. But T1 now, look at what they do. I really like what T1 do here, in the sense that they are waiting. Look at Gragas waiting, Jax is waiting, Renata, Ashe waiting. Ward placement also, very nice. They put it at the deeper end of the bush, so if Paze hugs this wall, I do believe that he still gets spotted. And now they see him and they say, alright, we are chilling. Gumayushi cuts him off and Paze loses 3 melee creeps experience. Already a massive win. My man has a tier, cool, first blood, but losing this much XP is a pain point, man. Really, really a pain point. He volleys, Paze gets 1, which is okay, but losing 3 melees is kind of a pain point. And then Zeus gets the matchup into Gragas, with Gragas into Jax, which is nice. And then that's it, you know? This is, of course, very, very good for T1's bot lane and for the Zeusy Fruity. We'll continue. Not a lot of action in this game up until the grub spawn. Faker gets cancelled on the base, but Faker CS numbers is looking fine. I really like the lane assignments here, basing on Akali and taking over mid with Ashe and Renata, which is super nice. Korea did a good job of making sure that he always gets XP. Like, I think Korea has solved this problem, right? Korea really has solved this problem. He's either playing range supports where he can just chill with Gumayushi and take XP and grow strong, right? Like the Renata. Or he's playing insanely mobile supports that can just cheat tempo all the time. Rakan, Bard, Pike, right? I think if you see Korea playing traditional matchups, I think that you don't want him. You don't want him to be on that, right? It's like the worst game we saw today was him playing Braum. That's extremely telling, right? It's extremely telling. But this is a very nice lane swap. Akali into bot, she can't get dove, can't be pressured, and that's it, you know. Canyon starts hitting Drake because he knows with Ashe is into top side that she goes. Renata hovers into bottom side, but Akali is safe and he calls it. Can't get dove, reaches over 6. Very hard to dive Akali with Shroud, of course. And we continue. Deja vu from game 1. I really like this play from T1. It's like here every signal is that they base after the crash, and Keen is just pushing the wave naturally, right? And look how much needs to be done in order to secure a kill. Boom. He latches on with the vibe, buffers it before the flash. Very nice. Very nice. Very cheeky. Gragas on mid wave is already to cover. Akali, bot to cover. Very nice. Someone in the chat says Monty was calling PREVAILS a fraud way back. I think that obviously I'm not talking. It's an interesting discussion point because I think PREVAILS still early on in his career, right? Like he's not Gumayushi, he's not Ruler, he's not Elk. I think that's always something that I've said too. I think that PREVAILS had a very solid MSI. And I think that he had a very good summer split. His spring split and spring playoffs was quite bad. If some people took a look at like I think his playoff spring split games, those were games where you get worried about PREVAILS, right? I feel like the games where I worry about PREVAILS is when he is driving the car. I don't like it, you know? I think PREVAILS is like the coating on the cake, you know? He's the glazing on the cake. I think that he is like solid when his purpose in the game is simple. But he, for example, the summer in the finals against Hanwha Life, he also solo lost the game, right? He had a moment where he could clutch it out and he didn't. He really didn't. I worry about PREVAILS when he's driving the car. And the same way about Genji, when the top side aren't on the right champs, they look a lot worse, you know? They just look a lot worse. For example, here Canyon didn't do shit on the fucking Nocturne because his fucking pick his ass, right? But I wouldn't go so far to call him a fraud, right? I just think PREVAILS has had great performances, but he cannot be put on the same level as a Gumuyushi, a Ruler, a Viper. Not yet. Not yet. An Elk. All right. So grubs are coming up, and this is going to be the game decider. I think here, the key detail here that I notice is the fact that after Akali, like Akali hovers here, right? This is the moment she decides to hover, which I think can be okay, but I think that if Akali hovers here, Jax should base, and Ezreal, Rel should take over top, and Ahri should take over mid. This was a lane assignment mistake here from Gen.G that they didn't solve, and then they paid as big of a price as possible for it, which I think is really bad. Take a look at this moment, right? If Ahri walks into mid, takes over, Jax begins to recall, and Ezreal, Rel take over this wave, catch it after the Zeus pushes in, I think maybe this will be okay. But here Akali pushes, and then Ahri goes back into bottom side to catch, and then here Faker is hovering because he got Prio on the wave bot and has Mercs into Ahri, and T1 now with TP advantage on Faker and T1 everybody in spot and Gragas opening on top side, this is a big problem. Faker, like Chovy is now bot with no TP, and Jax just full sends it like this. They full send it because they see Ashe on mid, but T1 is just calling that, oh, they don't have a mid laner. Because at first, I have to say, at first, if you pause the frame here, it does look like T1 has done goofed. And I thought so when I was watching this live. You will look at this frame, you're like, holy fuck, mate. It looks bad. But T1's like, no problem. Really nice buffer on the ult from Korea. He gets them. Owner flashes out from the initial combo. Ashe hovers, and then they snap. Really nice play here from Faker. Lands the E. Auto. Gets a second E. Hit. Like, this is max DPS fucking combo here from Akali. This is really, really nice. Really, really fucking nice. And after this, guys, it's like you have 6 grubs, you're 2k gold ahead, you took the first third at top. Like, your comp is looking fucking delicious, very strong into Nocturne. Is GG, you know? Is GG. I think that Canyon maybe could ult sooner, so Faker maybe has to question his TP and they can judge the situation better, but this wasn't the way, man. T1 eventually got bottom tower too with the grubs. I think that I don't understand people having an issue with the Nidalee pick. It's very specific to how Gen.G play, and I think that Nidalee did a lot of work. Like, I don't think that you can blame Nidalee. I think that game was not super draft dependent, if anything. I think that in that one, T1 just kind of outplayed them, if anything. I think that we are talking about draft, but sometimes I feel the community is over-focused on draft, man. Because like the Nidalee was perfectly fucking fine, man. It was perfectly fine. Here, Ahri pushed up all the way. Chovy did a good job of maintaining CS and maintaining Prio. I think that's the only thing that kept Gen.G like remotely relevant in this game. Chovy was perma pushing side. He TP'd onto Zeus's lane. I don't know what this play was. Zeus kind of just made it through, and I think it's very cool that Zeus kind of makes it through here and cheekily harasses the wave when he sees that the enemy is pieced out already. I think that's super cool. Like, this is very big from Zeus. Like, Zeus not dying here and then walking up when he needs to is really, really like fucking insane, you know? I think that Zeus just outplays them. Like these type of details we need to appreciate. We definitely need to appreciate this. Not sure what Genji is doing here, man. Very uncharacteristic. T1 completely punished their face off. Nice Q from Owner. They break him apart. FaZe is in berserk. And Zeus is chilling. They lose a tier 2 top against 6 grubs, lose mid tier 1. It's like the game is just completely fucking over, man. Completely fucking over. Horrendous. Like the commitment on bot was really, really bad. You know, I think if people want to give criticism to Canyon and Chovy for this series, I think a key detail is in their champion choices. In my opinion, right? In game 1, you open the Yone to pick Sylas. I think that's so uninspired. You are weakened in Yone the entire game. I hate that. This game, you play Ahri into Sylas, fine. The cohesiveness of your comp is solid and better, right? The next game, you pick Ahri. I don't feel like this is exciting enough. Like, you're picking Nocturne and Ahri. I think that's terrible. Really, really bad. I think that's terrible. You need to set yourself up. Genji, from their position, Genji need to set themselves up in a way where Canyon and Chovy have the most amount of agency. But in their draft read and in their draft prep, it just isn't the case. And in my mind, like if you're Genji, it's like if we think back to MSI, MSI was a very specific tournament. The meta was in a perfect place for Chovy, right? Perfect place. Because Aurelion Sol is like the epitome of Chovy. Corki, epitome of Chovy. And then Genji banned Talia Ahri because that's Knight, right? And then when the evolution went deeper, he unveiled the Yone. Why are these champions perfect for Chovy? Because he's an incredible laner, and if winning lane with champions that shouldn't be ahead is game breaking, then it's game breaking, right? It's like Aurelion Sol or Corki with a package in good condition, they could carry fucking games. But if you are in a situation where you're running back to Ahri, it's like it's just not how Genji play. He's a great Ahri. He farms super well in Ahri, but in terms of what Ahri can do in a game, it's quite linear, right? Very linear. But not picking Scanner here, picking Nocturne over it, terrible. Lehens picking Rel on 5, I hate it. I feel like Chovy should have taken a step back and say, let me counterpick. And whatever they show, if the enemy blinds Ahri, I go Sylas. If the enemy blinds Sylas, I have this prepared. Like, this is what we needed. If you look at what Knight cooked, right? Knight has 12 unique champs at this tournament. You look at Knight's tournament at 2024, right? A very big difference in terms of like mid lane performance. You take a look at the bracket stage, you look at Knight's evolution, right? He picked up the Akali against the Yone after bans, right? Ahri and Smolderau. He played a Smolder game. This is just, it didn't look great, but he's added something to the pool. And then there was also the Syndra pocket pick into the Lucian, right? He invited Jahu into positions where he could counter pick and find more value, right? He rose to the occasion. Same way in the previous How Alive series. When you take a look at how the evolution of this series went, you have the Yone for the Ari, and this was the Zaira Khan. This was complete outdraft from Billy, right? And then the evolution here, where they took the Silas away after Jax, and then the army had Ari response, which of course was a bad thing. This is exactly what we saw today, right? Like How Alive with the Jax Ari Nocturne is just deja vu, right? It's just deja vu. Max Jax Ari Nocturne is the exact same fucking draft that we saw in this game. Jax Ari Nocturne, right? And then the evolution went to the point where the enemy felt the need to take Silas away, and then the Galio dropped. In my mind, it's like, I think Chovy's a great player, but he loses in the death department when it comes to being clutch in his champion choices. That's my biggest problem with Chovy. That's his biggest weakness. He's definitely the type of player that really likes repetition. That's super clear. But his champion choices, I don't think he is cutting edge enough, right? He's not cutting edge enough. I think that the peak League of Legends that he played was in spring playoffs this year. Let's take a look at the LCK. Spring playoffs. Let me show you guys something. You know that legendary How Alive versus Genji series, right? There was some series that went to 5 games. Genji is just picking Azir every game. Here they had the Aurelion Sol, okay, this is what it is. But my man was just picking Azir. And he looked, and Azir was also one of those champions that was completely, perfect, because if you lane well, you dominate. You can't get ganked, you can play on side for free, and then you can fucking clutch it out. Like, he did incredible things on this Azir. But if we think back to, for example, summer playoffs, they lost. You guys remember how they lost? First game, opening, Smolder, they lost against Tristana. Probably should have won this game. It is what it is. Doesn't matter. Close game. Corki. Into Azir. No problem. I like it. Corki. Game 5, first pick Corki. Corki. And sure, you can make the argument, oh, they picked Corki, they beat the Yone once, and they played it, whatever. They run it back. Wow. There was no evolution, right? He sticks to what he likes. And sometimes that pays off, like in the Azir case, and sometimes it doesn't. And I think that when he figures out the perfect balance between both, I think that he can become, like, that's where he becomes unleashed. It's funny because maybe Fearless Draft is what is going to make Chovy into the player that I think Chovy fans want him to be, right? I have made a very, very thorough explanation, guys, and I have watched Chovy now for ever since the beginning of his career. This is not your moment to say, isn't it because of this? I hope that you can hear what I'm saying and take it for what it is. Maybe Fearless Draft's kind of fake. No, it isn't if it's the real rules, not the LPL rules. Anyhow, did we finish game 3? Yeah, pretty much, right? Actually, it was the moment later where like they had like a nice flank, but I think the majority of the game was just kind of whatever, right? It was a collapse. There wasn't much to be done in this game. It's like this game we had a discussion where people were saying Faker just pissed in Chovy's mouth. It's like, guys, Faker had a good game. He had good fights, good TP, and then T1 was just dominating the game, and that's it. Like T1 was dominating the game. I made the analogy that like people look at roles in the game as the marble game from Squid Game, where it's basically 10 marbles, where whoever had all the marbles in the end wins and the other dies. This is how people view it. Faker had a good game, Chovy had a good game. They don't take anything away from each other. Sometimes they do. Sometimes it works in the way that it does. Sometimes it doesn't. Like this was a fine and solid Chovy game besides the criticism I had towards the lane assignment. But this game exploded in terms of the economy, and Lehens was getting perma-caught. And then you're sitting there with Rel into Renata and knocked them. And then T1 was much better together. And Faker had a fantastic game. Well, it's weird when the conversation turns into, ooh, Faker took a big shit on Chovy. No, he had a great game. And Chovy had a solid game. Right? This was kind of crazy. It's like Genji trapped here and the Ashe E didn't spot them. But I think that they freaked. They freaked. It could have been interesting. It could have been interesting. For me, it's very important to make the point come across that the circumstance of the game matters. It's like, I can tell you this. There are certain pro games where I could be on the winning team and we still win because it's very easy to play out the game. And there are certain games that are very difficult from each position to execute, and I wouldn't be able to do it. Because the variance in terms of how hard and difficult a game is changes a lot. We all agree on that point, right? You can play a great game, still lose. You can play a bad game and still win. That's a stretch, but I get your point. It isn't a stretch. It really, really isn't a stretch. You're saying I could beat Genji then? No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm not using this game as an example. I am saying there are certain games, plain and simple, there are certain games that are easy to play, certain games that are harder to play. I think that's important to bear in mind. And the variance in that is important to highlight. For example, you guys remember this for example, this Worlds. If you are at this Worlds, you guys remember there was a superhero performance from Elk in this game. You guys remember? He was fucking in the Matrix. How hard it was to execute the fights that he was winning to decide the game was insanely difficult. Insanely difficult. But there's some games that it's a lot easier to play, right? Some games are very easy to play. I'm trying to find like some example, right? Like this game, for example, here, LNG1. But this Ezreal game was pretty chill. It's a chill Ezreal game. Chilling. You know? Another example could be, for example, Damwon. They beat T1. Do you guys remember how bad Kingen and Moham played in that series? They still won. Sometimes you get away with more, sometimes you get away with less. That's the beauty of League of Legends. Which role did you feel the most difference between the players? I think that the biggest gap was just bot lane. By far the biggest gap. I think that Korea and Gumayushi outplayed their counterparts heavily. Yo, peace count very much for the Prime game. I appreciate that. Thank you. Far too kind. No, I think Faker does a good job of picking the right champ, right? Like spotting the Akali pick here against Jax, Ahri, Nocturne, and just going with it and accepting that he's going to be a little bit low CS. That's cold as fuck, man. I like that. You know, I like it. How much Akali has Faker played? Probably not super much, right? He's probably played a couple of games, has some of them under his belt, but he just slams it, you know? This is based. I like it, you know? Out of all players to play Akali, I thought that Chovy would actually pick it, you know? I really thought he would. I really thought, out of all players, I did think that Chovy is going to be playing Akali at this tournament. He's not only rigid this series. I do think that he's rigid all series. Like moments like these, Pace will never live down though, bro. Like this is so dry. Korea just fucking dry queuing him, bro. Wow, that's not okay, bro. That's not okay. Let's take a look at game 4. The match point Pyke. The match point Pyke. So someone asked me about Pyke. Look, there is no game that is good for Pyke. Let me explain. Pyke is a champion that needs to dominate lane phase by hitting hooks. If you miss those hooks, you're useless. If you hit those hooks, you can leverage that into more. In these games, Ashe is losing flash, Maokai is losing flash. And then Pyke has pressure on the map. And then the question is, how meaningful is that Pyke pressure? Because he's going to be first everywhere, and he's going to be able to contest your lane states. If Jax and Ahri can leverage the advantage that Pyke generates early enough to compensate for the fact that you have a Pyke later on, it's a good pick. That's what it comes down to. When you pick Pyke, it is you saying that you are much better than the enemy. Because honestly, that's what it comes down to. You pick Pyke when you think that you are better than the enemy. In both cases, Korea was right. I bring you back to a very historic matchup. 2021 G2 versus Fnatic in playoffs. Okay. I think game 2 was the one, right? Game 2 was the masterpiece. Oh shit, this is the wrong fucking year, bro. Wrong year. Fuck me, where we at, bro? Game 2 highlights. Oh, this is the Lulu game. Game 1, game 3. Let me find it, guys. Could have been this, bro. Could have been this. Bro, these highlights suck. They don't even show it. Where's the full game? These highlights sucks. Boo. Bad highlights. This is game highlights. Post-game lobby, playoffs round 3. Game 3, playoffs round 3. We need game 3. Where's the game 3? Am I blind? Game 3. Alright. Okay, so we lock Pike here. Enemy is showing Zaya Brome. Let me show you guys. This is the definition of aura. Like, Hilly is playing in a way where he knows he's better than the enemy. Look how he's playing, okay? Alright, not the best example. Not the best example. Is this the game that I'm looking for? I think it's the game that I'm looking for. Pike was not balanced back then. It's coming, it's coming. Don't worry guys, it's coming, it's coming. It's coming. The hooks are starting to land. Okay. The hooks are starting to land. It's coming, guys. Look at this. Hilly with the Pike E mechanic on the long wall, right? 2 flashes, 1 hook. Now you already know, like Hilly's state of mind, okay? You have to be in a state of mind where you are gonna be playing better than the enemy, because that's what it comes down to. I know it sounds ridiculous, but Pike is exactly that. You have to play better than your enemy for it to work. And all these times, both of these times where Pike was locked in, he already feels in the series that he's going to fucking get it done when he locks the Pike. And in this game too, right? In this game too, they do get it done. People criticize the Tristana pick. It's, keep in mind, Yone, Smolder, Aurora, Silas is out. For the people that don't like the Tristana pick, what do you want to pick? That's the main question, right? What do you want to pick if not the Tristana? Your jungler wants to play Nidalee, and you have Ashe first pick already. What are you locking? It's not super easy. Keep in mind you're blue side. I think this is right to pick, guys, because in the end he's playing Tristana against Ahri too, and it's okay, right? It's okay. And then when the enemy showed Jax, they pick Poppy, Maokai, both good against Jax. I don't think blue side draft is bad. I really don't think it's bad. I really don't think it's bad. I don't think Genji's draft was the issue this game. All right, so remember now what we talked about Keria and Pike and the aura. Really nice sweep here from Pike. I don't know what incentivized him to sweep here, but I guess he was hovering on top side and then they are re-entering because they put vision on top side. Like they are on top side, but here I don't understand why they are sweeping. I don't know if this is something they're aware of, but Varus marked vision the entire time and then they are sweeping. Like here he sweeps. It's crazy that he activates sweeper. Varus was here spotting the entire time. Keria's just a wizard, bro. He's just a wizard, man. He's just a wizard. And then he gets a hook on Ashe. Bam. 1 flash. Why don't you stream Champions Queue anymore? Because there's no games. There haven't been games in 2 weeks, mate. So already we got the flash. Nidalee wanted to, of course, create a situation where there was, of course, a split map. So Skara now crosses into bottom side and takes his Vulus and then his Grompovic. He skips it. 1 hook, lands, flashes. You remember everything we talked about, guys. Chovy here, you know, he took some bad trades getting charmed. This is like, I don't know what's happening here, you know. He jumped forward when the next mid-wave is coming. Like his idea here, he wants to punish on the cannon, right? Cannon's dropping low, he's hoping that it dies. But this doesn't look like Chovy, you know? This doesn't look like Chovy. Like the cannon's dropping low, he wants to fucking punish on the jump, but then Faker gets it anyway, and Chovy takes a bad trade. Chovy is usually the person who wows me in these spots. And then Owner comes in, good gank timer because Chovy has no jump, right? And he burns his flash, which is super nice. We continue. Nidalee now level 4. She stole one cam from the scanner, so he's only level 3. Nidalee now crosses into topside to take the seafood and also the blue buff. Actually, it just goes to chickens. He skips his blue buff. Interesting. I think Keen did a marvelous job in the lane. I think that he threw away his advantage little. Gumayusi with the cleanse here. Pyke was on mid-wave. Tried to fish for Tristana. Didn't get her. Already conditions of Faker are pretty fucking solid after that flash burn, that trade that we talked about, where he had no W. Here, Poppy swaps into bottom side, Ashe and Maokai opens on top side. Here, just Canyon gets fucking rolled. Here, Faker just commits on him. He's like, what the fuck is this? This is not allowed on my screen. He ults and keeps the charm, holds it long. Canyon needs to be able to flash this, but it's very hard on melee range. But we're talking about players that want to go to World Finals, you know? We're talking about Canyon, the jungle goat. You know, he needs to be able to fucking flash this. It's very difficult, I understand. But very nice charm hold from Faker. They get the kill, and this is obviously very fucking big for the game. This was a situation where Genji should be stronger for the situation around Grubs, in my opinion. And now Keen sacrifices bottom side as Jax is pushing out top. And the main thing here is that they are trying to still contest this.
Hello, sweetie pie.
What's up?
You want food or coffee?
No, thank you. I'm busy, Angel. Alright, so Lehen's face checking into this. It's like, it's just silly, right? Lehen's has no flash from before. He's on, it's like it's on vision. I don't know why this is happening here. I really don't know. I really don't know. Lehen's has no flash, so I really don't get this. I really don't get this. Keen was a superhero, bro. He poppy ults out Ahri and then tackles Varus into the wall. Like he did his absolute fucking best here, man. But once again, Keen is the one getting griefed here because he wanted to be on the bot wave and Jax got to push him on the top wave. The Gumayusi flashes over, had no cleanse from before, and then he's cut off from top side and Jax pushes in. So Jax gets a lot of CS and then Keen is the one getting screwed here because bottom wave is slow pushing. So okay. The Lehen's inting tree begins. Now the unit of measurement always is, Kiria, have you done enough with the Pyke? Canyon, darting back and forth, Kiria, channeled Q. This is where Lehen's, I don't know what to say, bro. I really don't know what to say. Is overlay bugged because it says Lehen's has flash? No, it didn't. My man W'd. My man W'd, so Pace got hooked, and W'd, so he got followed with the... it's disturbing. It's disturbing. It's disturbing. It's a 10 and 8 round, bro. This game was a 10 and 8 round. It's disturbing. It just gives a freebie here, and look, like Keen is committing to this side. You hear me? Keen is committed to this side. Keen opens here because the bot wave is completely fucked. As I mentioned before, Keen got fucked on the bot wave when it was even CS and was slow pushing into the enemy. He's getting so griefed here by everything that's happening in the game, and then he walks top trying to pressure. Tristana's on mid and Jax is on bot. Here he wants to just show pressure, make Jax push, TP back into bot after the play. But then he does this shit, bro. It's insanity, mate. It's insanity. My Poppy win rate? No, bro. Poppy win rate is in the toilet already a long time ago, bro. Poppy is like 7 and 18 at this tournament. Okay. 2K. Nidalee getting Drake. Nidalee getting Drake is pretty fucking solid, you know? Nidalee getting Drake in such a game will delay the game for later, right? Because you have that pike timer, you know, weighing on your head. A big thing though is, of course, Ari was ahead, Varos was ahead, Jax was ahead. So Pike is relatively satisfied with that in the back of his mind, you know. I don't remember this fight too much. Let me have a look. I don't know, Genji just looks so undisciplined, no? I'm looking at it and I feel like they need to just pull the Herald and play from the dick bush. Like, why are they letting Skarner walk forward like this? They just need to turn on one side. Like, Lehens has flash. Like imagine Lehens is just in this bush. I don't know what they are doing. Like, just pull out the Herald from here so you can hit it, and then let people, like, let Maoka be in the bush, and then just send it if these guys are going. Like, look at the position of T1. Look how disrespectful they are. They're like, yo, let's just fucking take space. These guys are not doing anything to us. This guy just dies for free. Lehens again. Poppy ult on 2, so Keen saves it again. I want to relook here on what Chovy did, because I didn't understand what actually happened when I was watching it live. The hook landed on him, and then he didn't get the reset on the jump. It's so close, actually, that he gets the reset on the jump. If he sends R on Korea, maybe he gets it. Also, Chovy, like, his flash looked weird. Like, he just gets hooked. He just gets hooked here. And then the E of Pike. Then tries to flash also for the E explosion. So close that it gets lethal. So close. Alright. So T1, 5k gold ahead. The solo laners are insanely strong. Lich Bane, Tuko, Ari getting fed. Jax also way stronger than Poppy because she got screwed economically, right? Because of the sacrifices and the map trades. Now the main thing is T1 can just maintain momentum on side, push perma, Varos under no danger. They have full vision top side. Pike can put vision wherever he wants. It's very, very good. Can't believe they decided to play double ADC, disrespect a Jax ban. Can't believe that you watched this game and that was the conclusion you reached. But to each their own. To each their own. It's like a draft goes back and forth, right? It's like you pick the Nidalee, Canyon Nidalee, thanks to Lord Bands, has won every game at World so far, right? For Canyon. They pick Nidalee, they set up for the Tris because there's nothing else to pick there on blue side. And the enemy picks Jax as an answer into the double AD. Cool. What do blue side do in answer to the Jax? They pick Poppy and Maokai, two champions that are fantastic into Jax. It's like it goes both ways, right? It goes both ways. There are trade-offs here that are happening real time, because in the end you need to blind pick something. And if there's a champion that you can blind pick that is going to be good against everything, then this champion is banned. Like a Yone or something else, right? So okay, here Ari had no ult from before, and Genji decided to full send it. This is a moment where you see how strong a champion like Skarner can be. Maokai is here. Maokai flash W's onto Faker, or actually just W's and Faker flashes after. They get the kill, but here the reaction from Zeus and from Skarner is very, very fast. They drop the TP instantly, and then Skarner is just drifting through walls, and they're just coming through. They kill Canyon, and then off of these 2 kills, they manage to, of course, secure the National. I understand why they went for the play, because it's very airtight, like that you get out or get in, and sometimes you need to take risk like this, you know, especially with the game state that they were in, like they need to take the kills that they wanted to, you know. T1 get the Drake, and I really like how Korea is tethering to the enemy, right? He's trying to get information, trying to spot them with wards. And this is Hextech Soul Map and Nash Recall. They just fucking walk after them and fuck them up. There is no world where Genji can stop that Nash. They have no smite, and Korea does a good job of making sure that the Drake is denied. Alright, 7-1. We have a tradition on my channel. When the scoreline is 7-1, we choose one player to send to Brazil. It's Lehens this time around. He needs some good sun. The Keen Masterclass begins. So T1, wonderful position, 2 Drakes. They have Nash. They should be able to collect a lot of gold, win the game, right? Beautiful itemization from Faker too, right? We complained about the fucking itemization of Chovy, which is, I hate it. But here we have Faker just fucking itemizing damage, bro. I fucking love it, bro. Death Cap thirds into pen. You know, he's fucking playing to win the game, you know? I like it. Here, Keen starts channeling Poppy ult, and then the hook is a follow-up off of the fucking Varus ult. Keen is pushing forward to defend the turret. He sends 2 fucking good ones away, and the Maokai ult gets blocked by the No Tenacity Jax. Gumayushi has Cleanse, so Zeus pretending to be a hero. Just pretending. Fake hero. Zeus dies as a follow-up, and then look at Keen here. The E, wow. Korea ults, he E's it and gets another proc bro. Korea has 2 deep dives, doesn't get the reset. That's fucking, Keen is just lovely, man. Beautiful from Keen. He did so fucking much, man. And now the conversation that happened on stream I said was, well, the last Whisper items of Tristana and Ashe are a very big tipping point because their DPS is going to be really, really increased. So if they can make it over that hurdle somehow, then things can be good. And maybe they have better chances to win the game, even though Red Side is in a better position because Pyke begins to fall off. Varus, of course, his input is rather, let's say, inconsistent. But at the same time, I would say when Gumayushi plays it, it is rather consistent. It's one of his best champs for sure. We continue. This is just sole point. Genji decided to fucking contest this. I thought this was crazy. I thought a Genji thing to do would be like, okay, we're going to play for soul and we're going to finish our last Whisper items and that's our best bet. But they just said, rock and roll our controller, let's step into river. Gumayushi misses the first Q. A hook lands onto Canyon and Varus ult and Charm misses off of that hook. Very important details because somehow Genji did well in this fight, which is crazy to think about. Like they face checked into T1 and the Charm didn't land on Canyon, the Varus ult, it is what it is, you know? We continue. Like the fact that Genji were allowed to enter into here is really nuts. Charm hit, not miss, guys. I don't know why you take the time to write that. Why? But it's okay. The fact that they got to enter here in the first place is a very big deal. They got into the space. Owner is trading with Keen. Korea is porting over the wall. Gumayushi plants over too, which is kind of crazy. And Zeus is in a good spot. Here, Chovy's ult on Zeus is very good, right? And they walk forward. Skana gets the Drake, but the fact that Genji got position, I think that they played this fight pretty fucking good if you ask me. The Poppy ult on Ari once again is beautiful off of it. Charm hit Maokai is not wrong, guys. Wow, you got me, guys. You are so smart for seeing that the Charm hit Maokai. Here's a medal. Here's a violin solo that I play on the world's smallest violin. Can you hit it? All for you. All right. Good job. He hit the Maokai, guys. In this moment, I do think that, you know, just a Poppy ult on Ari, you know, off of the Maokai ult is really, really massive. Pace Flash is pretty fucking good. Tristana ult on Jax. It's like Genji, they clutched it out here, man. This was a fucking clutch moment here from Genji. And even though I'm happy for the story, I do think T1 vs Bilibili is a way more interesting best of 5. Like T1 vs Bilibili is way more interesting because of all of the narratives and also at the same time in regards to how stylistically they match up. Like these are teams that brawl it out, fight, they contest space, while Genji is very methodical, you know? Like Genji versus Bilibili would just be a story of fucking, you know, the hammer versus the nail, right? Can Genji outscale and like outlast them? So I do think that Bilibili T1 matchup is just fucking explosive because we even have a sample, right? We have a sample in this tournament where I do think that both T1 and Bilibili played worse than they do now coming into the finals, where we have a sample of them playing, and that fucking BO1 was fucking crazy, right? But okay. We talk about it again. Just the Tristana ult on Jax was huge. FaZe flashing over the tackle of Keen into the wall on Jax too. Like Chovy is a bit of a psycho, if I'm gonna say so myself. Like here, he ults, he hits, he pushes forward, jumps, gets the buffer on Zeus, then he hits, gets another reset, jumps onto Zeus to get away from Gumayushi, kites upwards to get away from Gumayushi, and then once again he jumps here for damage, gets the reset, jumps again, and flashes out away from Faker, who tries to fucking participate in the fight where he got Poppy ulted. I feel like Genji really fucking clutched it out, man. And did you see how Korea played this fight? I said, bro, he's playing Pyke. Like, everything he does is so inconsequential. Pyke is such a goofy champ. But he hooked, right? He tried to hook FaZe. And FaZe just flashes, right? Like, it's a good hook. FaZe flash. And then he comes here. He has no E, no Q. And then he ults. And I don't know, does it work like that? I guess it does work like that, right? He just misses Lehens, but he hits Poppy. And so he TPs into his W. He misses Lehens. Yeah. I thought for a moment that he cancelled the damage on Lehens, but he just missed. I want to take a look at something because Nidalee did the most amount of damage in this fight. Let's take a look how. So he did a lot of damage on Owner here because Owner has no MR, right? This is full armor with Randuins. He full comboed Keria, he just bit his face off. And then he full comboed Zeus too. Yeah, he's having a fucking field day, guys. He's having a field day, bro. He was just perma hitting. This looked like the most fucking fun. This looked like the most fun Nidalee sequence ever. Alright. So, Genji, get Nashor, and honestly at this point, you know, the draft with the LBRs, it becomes really fucking different. It becomes a different game. They are quite strong. Even here though, you know, like Lehens is just a player that had a horrible world championship. He's going to Maokai ult off of the next wave. But even here, the fact that he's walking forward, where is he going? Where is he going? Where's he going, bro? It's so stressful to watch this guy play, man. Unbelievably stressful. The T1, take me to the final, please. Genji equalized the gold. It's looking good, but everything comes down to the soul point fight, of course, because, you know, Drake is spawning and T1 is in fact on soul point. The blue side here, Poppy's looking really fucking strong. And Ashe and Tristana have finished their penetration items. Really huge. Genji pushed them out all the way. This is like prime Nidalee position where the enemy needs to face check into her. It's looking beautiful. Genji are in a good spot here to win the game for sure. Maokai ult flies, and honestly, I didn't mind too hard, you know, the commitment here on Scanner. I did think it was a solid one. After Poppy also fucking flash tackles Faker into the wall, like this is fucking nice, you know. I thought it's done, you know. So even if Lehens should probably like flash to peace out, this looks like a fine situation, but this fucking Scanner ult landing too, it just can't go, man. It just can't be this way, bro. It can't be this way. 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 Oof. It's like it's not even. It's like, sure, you can flash, but you're playing Ashe against Scanner. Like, how do you not space that? How do you not space that, bro? How do you not space that, man? I think Chovy as well. Like, Chovy jumping out, I don't think is good. He needs to keep hitting. I don't like that Chovy jumps out, man. Like, Chovy jumps to fucking Zimbabwe, you know? And somehow T1 clutch out the fight that looks so favorable, bro. Like, Faker got one tapped here, bro. Faker got one tapped, he's trying to play out the pocket, and Keen just tackles him straight into the wall, bro. But here, if Chovy pushes, like if Chovy steps up and keeps hitting Owner, he carries this fight. But the thing is, it's like Pace can flash, yes. But he's playing Ashe, bro. He's playing Ashe. He's max range, man. And the game is over. And T1 make it to the finals. Damn. Holy. Well, props to Keria and Gumayushi, bro. Like, I think the super gap was fucking insane. 80 gap was fucking insane. I think that's like their massive edge, you know, coming into the finals too. I think Keria's form is looking way better than On's too. Like, On isn't as trash as Lehens. That's for sure. And I think that Knight has way more depth as a player in terms of what he's willing to play. Because I think it really comes down to the question of, it's like, Knight has had a way better tournament than Chovy, in my opinion. Right? I think Faker is playing a very important role. Very, very important role on the team. In terms of what he plays, right? When Faker plays Ari, that's okay. Because he has Keria and Zeus that bring a lot of X factor to the table. But if you're Genji, Canyon, and Chovy need to be the ones to bring the X factor to the table. Because your support plays 2 champs. And your AD plays 3 champs. On the flip side, I think that Knight in this tournament showed that he is like willing to go deep, you know? He's willing to go deep. I think that's really, really crucial. And preliminarily, I think that the Gragas needs to be addressed somehow, because Zeus's Gragas against the Jax. I feel like game one, we're gonna see Jax versus Gragas. Just, that's the opening. Jax versus Gragas. I'm really curious, because Zeus has looked tremendous on the Dragoon, and Bin has looked really fucking good on Jax, you know? And Gragas is an answer into Jax, but the last time they played this matchup, Jax solo killed him on Gragas. But I feel like this tournament, I think his Gragas has been absolutely tremendous, bro. I am so excited for the fucking finals. Really, really excited. Really, really excited. But Skarner, bro, something needs to be done about the Skarner, that's for sure, bro. Like, how did Skarner just not get picked here? That's crazy talk. I understand why they pivot to Riot, because they have Akali and Gragas top. If they pick Skarner, it's so easy to itemize against his comp. I get that. But Skarner, bro, I don't know, you just won the game with Skarner, Jax, Ahri, and you go Nocturne. Like, it's crazy. Crazy, crazy, crazy.